Implementing a new habit consistently is one of the keys to better health. Today, I speak with Amritha about what a habit is, why it's important for our health, and how we can implement a new habit consistently and with ease. Okay, so Amritha, we're going to jump right into it. And as coaches, we're both coaches and we deal a lot with people improving their health. That's the goal that they have. And so my first question for you is, what is a habit and what is the role of a habit in improving our health?
Yeah. So a habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly, right? And it tends to happen subconsciously.
Okay.
So that's why it's so hard to build a habit, because we are not already used to doing it, because it's something new that we have to implement in our routine. And why it impacts our health is, so you know how there are good habits and bad habits. So good habits are those that technically, in terms of like goal setting, they say good habits are those that take you closer to your goals, and bad habits are things that take you away, or like, which are negatively impacting the goals or the health, or towards the health that you're moving to. So coming to how habits can impact your health, it's those little things that you do subconsciously in your day-to-day routine or your life that positively affects your health, that it impacts your health in a good way, or that negatively affects your health. And how it happens is that we do those things like subconsciously, and when you're not aware of whether that particular habit is doing good for you or doing bad for you, that's when it's not good. So I'll give you an example. For example, is you're doing this routine thing of like jogging every day for 30 minutes and then running, and you've been doing that for a few years now, and that's keeping your weight in check, which is great. But there could be at some point that this activity is not very good for your muscles or for your bones in the long run, because there's a lot of wear and tear happening, and your knees are getting destroyed, or your hips are not getting, like, they're getting destroyed in the terms of like wear and tear. And if we're not conscious of that habit that we're doing impacting our health, then that's not good, right?
Right.
So we have to like consciously check in with ourselves, like, is this meal or is this way of eating, like, how some people follow the keto diet, or they do like certain diets for a very long time, and yes, it might be working in terms of keeping their weight in check or their health in check, but then you should also check in to see, how is it really impacting your health? Are you getting all the nutrients that you need to in a day? So that's why the habits impact our health, because it's those things that we do over and over again over a long period of time that has some impact on our health. And it's important that we reflect and we check once in a while to see, like, is this doing good for me, or is this not doing good for me?
I love that you mentioned diet, because I do work a lot with that with my autoimmune clients, using a specific protocol. And what I find is a lot of people get stuck in the elimination phase of the protocol, where we've removed a lot of things that are healthy foods, and now it's time to start reintroducing them. And it's a perfect example of what you said. This served you for a period of time, and now you need to think about what's going to serve you now. Because if you remain where you are, you might not be giving yourself the greatest benefit. So that brings me to the next question, which is, say we do realize there's something that needs changing, and maybe even we take the time to reflect on it and decide, okay, this is the thing I want to change, and this is what I'm going to do. Why does it feel so hard to start and implement a new habit?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So because these habits are something that we do automatically, right? Because we're doing it subconsciously, trying to change that, or trying to stop doing something, or trying to start doing something new is extremely difficult, because we got to be conscious about doing it. If we don't have the reminder to do something new, which we've never done before, how do we do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it becomes really challenging. And it boils down a lot to a person's awareness, like, how conscious are they? Do they have those reminders or those cues or those triggers that help them remember to do something? Like, don't eat that, eat this instead. But how do you remember, right? Unless you're not aware of like, oh, I'm planning to implement this change. From today onwards, I have this. This is my reminder or the cue. We wouldn't do it. And then another reason that is challenging is just like you said, Whitney, like you have this protocol, which probably might eliminate some things. For people like me, like who loves chocolate, if someone says, hey, don't eat chocolate, I'm going to be like, oh my God, how do I like survive without chocolate, right? But it's just remembering what is the feeling that chocolate brings for me, like an emotion, or what does it do, like a reward kind of a thing, and just substituting that with something else. So maybe the same kind of feeling is given to me by if I have another sweet thing like a date or having a cup of tea with a little sugar in it. So that way you are not entirely removing that thing. You're still having that sort of the reward or that feeling of like happiness or emotional contentment by eating something else or different or doing something else. It doesn't have to be food. Like you remove the food, but I could probably get the same level of happiness if I watch a funny video or watch like a clip from a favorite movie, or I go out for a walk with a best friend. So it's about also, so that's the challenge, right? Like everyone removes certain things and stop doing a particular thing that they've been doing for years. And then they realize that, okay, they cannot do that. Like they cannot live without it. But it's about replacing it with something else that gives you the same sort of an emotion or reward that is probably more beneficial to you or that's better, right? So that's one of the challenge, which you're not replacing it with the right thing. And the second thing is not being conscious, in the sense, not being aware of that change, like being aware of yourself, aware or the cues or the triggers that remind you to not do something that in that particular new schedule of yours. And the third thing that it's very challenging is for some people, they set unrealistic goals or they start very big. So for someone who never jogs or never exercises, if they decide, okay, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to jog for 30 minutes every day, like that could be unrealistic for some people, right?
Yeah.
Like say in your diet, like you have this diet plan and you've got to remove like a bunch of different things. For me, I feel rather than removing like 5 different things at a time, maybe remove one thing like slowly and implement that change. So not to start very big, but starting small and then rewarding yourself, for that change, like making you feel, oh, today I didn't have chocolate. Okay, let me reward and do something else like that makes me feel good, so that I celebrate myself that I didn't eat that chocolate, So those kind of things. And then being patient.
Yeah. So it sounds like it starts with awareness, because if we're not aware of it, we don't even have the idea to make the change.
Yeah.
So do you have a tip around awareness? Like, how do we become aware of our current habits and what we want to do differently?
Yeah. So the best thing to start off with awareness is writing down. So it's very well mentioned in the Atomic Habits book by James Clear. And I've tried that too, and that really works. So I know our habits or routines every day might not be the same, but if you set like for 1 week, 7 days straight, if you write down from the time you wake up in the morning, the things that you do, which is like brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower, working out, write down everything that you do from the time you wake up, like 6 a.m. to whenever you sleep, 10 p.m. That way it'll give you like a visual cue of like, okay, these are the things that I'm doing. And these are the things that are not good for me, and I'll probably have to remove. Like, every simple detail, like looking into your phone, how long is that on your phone? So that would be like that first step of awareness, to realize in 7 days of the week, these are the things I'm doing these many times, and that's what I have to remove for me to get better. Or, like.
Yeah, we do that with food and symptoms journaling a lot of the time when working with chronic illness clients. And I like to say, yes, a week is great, but even if they give me 1 to 3 days of what they're doing, because I'm really one that believes start where you are and what you're capable of. And if it sounds too overwhelming, how can we make it work for you right now?
Yeah.
So another thing that I've learned about habits is an effective way to implement a new habit is to attach it to an activity that you already do reliably on a daily basis. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I have different ways of also starting new habits. So one way, like you mentioned, Whitney, that's absolutely right, is attaching it with another habit that you do reliably every day. So it's like habit stacking, right? You stack that one habit
Yes.
over the other.
Mm-hmm.
But so I have a simple policy when you start a new habit is start small in time and effort. So it would be something like if you're working out, don't start off like 30 minutes the first day, right? Start like 5 minutes. Do that 5 minutes of the meditation or that exercise for a week, for 2 weeks until you're comfortable with that 5 minutes, and then take it to 6 minutes and then 7 minutes. And again, do that again for a few weeks until you're comfortable, and then increase the number. So don't start right away like 1 hour of reading and 1 hour of jogging, because then that's going to be hard because it's not a habit yet. You have to start small and slow. Yeah. And
I was just going to say, with the autoimmune protocol that I work with my clients, there are the cold turkey approach and the phased approach. And the phased approach is what you're talking about. So we take 6 weeks to actually transition the diet. So when we decide that we're going to start a new habit, we've set our alarm to notify us. We've stacked it to another habit. We've set a small step with minimal time and effort. And it comes to that moment where we're about to do the new habit and we have that mental block come up. What are your words of wisdom in the moment?
In the moment, yeah, those blocks always come, so it's just about reminding yourself. Again, this is the whole self-awareness part. It's just reminding yourself why you're doing it. Like, what is the end goal, right? It's that dream, that passion that you want to reach that goal. So I always ask myself why, and then I always remind myself that whenever I do that activity, it makes me feel good, or it makes me like that sense of achievement, or like I've achieved that goal, I've achieved that thing for the day. I can tick box my things to do, like my to-do list, like, oh, I did that thing, and it gives me that sense of achievement. So those are the two things I would recommend people if they hit that block of, oh, I have to do that today, and they don't want to do it. Just remember like why you decided to do this in the first place. So for example, in your program, like everyone who gets into your program, right? Like, why did they sign up? Why did they join your program? Because they want to get better in their health. And then also remembering. So the second thing is remembering the reward. Like when you do it, when you feel good, how it makes you feel, your body feel, the healing, everything, right? So all the effects, the positive effects of doing it. So those are my two tips of reminding ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. And what I've started doing recently is incorporating that into meditation. And I know that might not resonate for everybody, but in meditation, actually closing my eyes, thinking about the outcome, what would my life be like if XYZ, and feeling the emotions in my body. So I'm moving it from an intellectual thought to an actual physical feeling in my body. And that really helps me move forward with my goals and my new habits.
Yeah, that's really good too. Yes, definitely meditating, or, having the time for reflection every day. So some people don't meditate, but they sit with themselves like in a journal or a diary, and they write their feelings and stuff, right? So that's exactly what you said, like, doing that thing and writing it down as to how your body feels, how you feel, and all that. Yeah, that definitely helps.
Cool. So is there one piece of advice you can leave us all with? What is the biggest takeaway that you can think of when it comes to starting a new habit?
One thing is start small in time and effort, which I just mentioned to you about, and then increasing it gradually, which is you start with 5 minutes, and then once you're comfortable with that, then take it to 6, 7. So increase it gradually. So in whatever of efforts that you're doing, whatever your activities, increase it gradually. Don't jump from like 5 minutes to 30 minutes the next day, right? Yeah. And always give your rewards for that. And the third tip is to do it at the same time every day.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your tips and advice, Amritha.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here, and I hope people listening to it get a lot of value.